The true exorcism was worse than the movie. The 1973 film was inspired by a true event. Not a girl in Georgetown, but a 14-year-old boy in Maryland, hidden for decades behind the name Roland Doe. There were no cameras, no script, just a terrified family, determined priests, and a battle that left behind physical evidence and eyewitness accounts. Before the book and the film, there were only desperate reports. A priest's diary, hospital records, and testimonies from those who saw the impossible. These documents tell of a boy who spoke in unknown languages, objects flying across rooms, and words burned into his skin. This is the factual bedrock of one of the greatest horror stories ever told, a tale of faith, fear, and a darkness that answered when called. The journey back to 1949 is a journey into a different kind of fear, one rooted in the unsettling possibility that the spiritual world can violently break into our own. What happened to Roland Doe? Was he a disturbed child or truly possessed? The whispers of the past still echo, inviting us to look beyond the movie and into the heart of the real exorcism. This is not the story of the film. This is the story of the whisper that came before the scream. Believe, if you dare. In 1949, America was settling into peace after World War II. Suburbs like Cottage City, Maryland, promised safety and normalcy. Roland Doe, an only child, lived a quiet life here, close to his family, especially his Aunt Harriet, a spiritualist who introduced him to the Ouija board. At the time, the Ouija board was seen as a harmless parlor game, not a doorway to the unknown. But beneath the surface, post-war America was restless. The horrors of the past lingered, and people searched for meaning in unconventional places. Spiritualism saw a resurgence as families mourned lost loved ones. In this environment, a simple game in a suburban home would allegedly open a door to something far from safe. No one in Cottage City imagined their town would become the epicenter of a supernatural storm. The devil was a metaphor, not a literal threat. Until now. For Roland, the line between game and nightmare was about to vanish. And for his family, the American dream was about to become a waking nightmare. Roland's bond with Aunt Harriet led him to the Ouija board, a game that became his lifeline after her sudden death. Grieving, he used the board alone, hoping to reach her. That's when the strange occurrences began. The family heard unexplained noises, dripping, scratching, and objects moving on their own. At first, they blamed old pipes and creaky floors. But soon, the phenomena escalated. A picture of Jesus shook violently. The scratching followed Roland from room to room. Fear turned to terror as the activity centered on Roland. His bed shook, furniture slid, and a sense of dread filled the house. Doctors and ministers found no answers. The family realized something had been invited in, and it wasn't leaving. The Ouija board was no longer a game. It was a doorway. The strange events intensified, all tied to Roland. The family's search for help would soon lead them far beyond medicine or psychology. The door Roland tried to open to his aunt had let something else through. The nightmare had only just... The phenomena grew more terrifying. Red welts appeared on Roland's skin, sometimes forming words before his family's eyes. Roland's personality changed. He fell into trances, speaking in guttural voices and hurling blasphemies he couldn't have known. Most chilling, he spoke fluent Latin, despite never having studied it. Objects flew across rooms, targeting family and religious symbols. A glass hovered in midair before shattering. Heavy furniture moved on its own. The family's home became a battleground, with Roland at the center. He was no longer just a victim. He was the vessel for something else. The line between the natural and supernatural had been crossed. Desperate, the family turned to the Catholic Church. Their Lutheran minister referred them to Jesuit priests, including Father Raymond Bishop. Father Bishop began a detailed diary documenting the events with clinical precision. His entries describe beds shaking, insults in ancient tongues, and physical phenomena combined with supernatural knowledge. The activity intensified around anything holy. Holy water triggered violent convulsions. Words like hell and evil appeared in welts on Roland's skin. The diary records a physical assault. Roland, with unnatural strength, broke a priest's nose during a ritual. The entity was not just a voice. It was a force capable of real harm. The priests faced a direct, intelligent, and hostile response to their prayers. Father Bishop's diary became a chronicle of a war, one fought in the shadows, with faith as the only weapon. The evidence was mounting, and the church could no longer ignore the case. The battle for Roland's soul was about to escalate. The diary remains one of the most crucial records of the exorcism. It is a testament to the terror that unfolded, and it would change the lives of everyone involved. With mounting evidence, the church authorized the Roman ritual of exorcism, a grueling nightly battle that stretched on for weeks. The exorcisms began at a relative's home, then moved to the Alexian Brothers Hospital for safety. Each night, priests gathered around Roland's bed, reciting prayers and commanding the demon to depart. The response was immediate and violent. Roland writhed, screamed, and mocked the priests, sometimes revealing secrets he couldn't have known. The entity claimed to be many. "We are legion." Security doors rattled, and other patients sensed terror emanating from the room. The priests, exhausted and tested to their limits, pressed on, fighting not just for Roland's sanity, but for his soul. The ritual was their only weapon against an enemy that grew stronger each night. The outcome was far from certain. The battle left physical scars. Words like hell and spite appeared in welts on Roland's skin, witnessed by priests and hospital staff. The markings formed spontaneously, as if burned from within, a direct challenge from the entity. Roland displayed unnatural strength, breaking free from restraints and injuring a priest. Objects flew, beds shook, and the room became a dangerous, unpredictable place. The entity fought back with everything it had, trying to break the priest's will. Each night was a test of courage and faith. The scars were not just on Roland's body, but on the memories of everyone present. The line between spiritual and physical danger blurred. The priests faced a darkness that seemed to grow more defiant with every prayer. After more than 30 exorcism sessions, the priests were exhausted. But on April 18th, 1949, everything changed. During the ritual, the chaos peaked. Roland convulsed, screamed, and then, suddenly, a new voice emerged. The priests believed it was the Archangel Michael commanding the demon to depart. A final violent convulsion shook Roland. A loud sound echoed through the hospital. Then silence. Roland opened his eyes, calm, peaceful, and free of torment. He spoke in his own voice, saying the demon was gone, and described a vision of Saint Michael defeating the devil. The priest declared him freed. Roland had no memory of the ordeal. The family, overjoyed, left St. Louis and tried to return to normal life. The storm had passed, leaving behind an unbelievable calm. The story would be whispered about for years to come. The real exorcism was over, but its legacy was just beginning. After the exorcism, Roland Doe, later revealed as Ronald Hunkler, lived a normal life, even working as a NASA engineer. He never spoke publicly about the events and reportedly remembered nothing. But the story spread. William Peter Blatty, a Georgetown student, heard rumors and turned them into The Exorcist. The book and film became cultural phenomena, forever changing horror and sparking a surge in exorcism requests worldwide. The Vatican now trains hundreds of exorcists each year, a direct legacy of Roland's case. The story remains a battleground between faith and science. Skeptics cite psychological explanations. Believers point to the documented evidence that defies easy answers. The diaries and hospital records endure, leaving questions that science and faith still struggle to answer. The truth may lie somewhere in between. Sometimes the real story is scarier than fiction.